What's up, Big Rob? I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes to get on here. I've got some commentary I want to have a conversation with everybody about. So I'm going to see if we can get a few people on here first, because these videos, you can't save these videos if you don't go at least I think a minute long. So I want to make sure there's good morning, Mike. I want to make sure there's a few people on here because I've got a couple things to talk about. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good Friday morning. We're super busy. We got a cold front coming through here in Florida right now. It's kind of weird. In June, it's only like 72 degrees. Look at them blue skies. So listen, I'm gonna talk on a couple things. First off, I'm gonna talk about influencers. So those of you that have been around for a while with me know that I work in the industry, right? I own Cycle Stop USA in Lakeland, Florida. I've been in the business since December of 2003 full-time. Prior to that, my dad started building bikes in our basement in 1971. When he retired in 2003, we got an EIN. An EIN is your employer identification number, right? That's what puts you on the map and gives you a way to pay taxes. And, we loved motorcycles so much in my family, we decided to get the government involved. So, good morning, Mr. Motzko. So I want to talk to you about a couple things. Number one, I want to address the Robby Starbucks situation. So I got to be honest with you, I have no idea who Robby Starbucks is. I had seen him go on a couple of different podcasts and what have you, talking about Harley. At the time, when I saw that, I completely agreed with all of the DEI bullshit that's out there. To me, DEI stands for didn't earn it, right? I don't care where you're from. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what your background is. I don't care about any of that stuff. I care about people who do good work, do what they say they're going to do, follow through, right? There's no such thing as personal ethics and business ethics. There's just ethics. So I'm not trying to pontificate here. I'm just trying to draw a parallel that the DEI bullshit that was going on at Harley Davidson was a crock of shit. They were following suit. I think they were incorrect when they did that hire and they hired somebody outside of the country. Not that somebody outside the country shouldn't work at Harley Davidson, but in my personal opinion, Harley Davidson is an American company, should be run by Americans. And if you live here, you're an American. If you're here legally, you're an American, all that stuff. So I won't get into immigration because I have my ideas on that. But I think trying to change how a company is to be perceived is incorrect. Coca-Cola sells Coca-Cola and Coca-Cola products. Dasani is a totally different company that sells water. Everybody creates their own lane. I think you should kind of hang around in that lane, in that space. And I've been very critical of Harley Davidson to my entire career, right? Ever since I opened an aftermarket shop that worked on Harley Davidson motorcycles, I've had to deal with what I would consider gatekeeping, right? I have to deal, whether it be technology, whether it be parts availability, whether it's been sharing information, whether it's been working together at events. And I got no skin in the game as far as where Harley's at, except for I'll tell you this, and I stand by this. Harley Davidson is less of a motorcycle company and more of a t-shirt company that builds unfinished motorcycles, right? Thank God they do. Thank God they do build unfinished motorcycles, because I wouldn't have this shop that you see behind me, right? I wouldn't have an 8,000 square foot shop with 2 full-time techs plus myself making a living modifying stock Harley Davidsons, right? There's a brand new stock Harley Davidson right there. Newer. These are all M8 bikes right there. So we do a fair amount of late model performance business. But I do think that Harley Davidson does build an inferior product in some capacities. Do I think their motorcycles are much better than they ever were? Their motorcycles are incredibly better than where they were. I think in 2014, Harley turned the corner, really started building a fantastic motorcycle. In 15, when they came out with the newer style Road Glide fairing, I think that was the best bike Harley had ever built up to that point, except for some of the Sportsters. And laugh if you want to, but Sportsters are a goddamn good motorcycle. But back to this Robby Starbucks thing. Influencers, all of you influencers, people who do nothing except for take from the industry, right? There's two kinds of people in this world, faucets and drains. If you're an influencer and the only product that you're producing is your product, your digital product for likes and shares, I think you're a loser. I just do. You're a culture vulture, as Robby from Alloy Art would coin the phrase. That was the first time I heard it. If all you do is ride your motorcycle around and talk about what you're doing, and you get paid to do that, and you're not transparent, because I know a lot of you out there, and you're not being transparent. People are putting you on motorcycles. People are funding your thinly veiled charity work and those types of things. I won't get into who, but you guys all see them online, right? A business that makes only money is a poor business. Henry Ford said that. All of those things. I think Robby Starbucks fits into that. He's not a part of the motorcycle culture, right? I don't know if he rides, but somebody that is putting themselves out there as an authority on things. I think you need to have receipts, right? And your receipts can't be searching through Google and doing what people call research, right? People do a lot of research. Well, there is a lot of information on the internet, but Googling somebody for 15, 20 minutes, a half hour, and calling that research, that's just where it starts, right? Robby doesn't have any receipts, any personal receipts with his credit card number on it. He's just out there trying to stir up the hornet's nest. And when he did it before, and he was identifying some of the DEI problems and practices within Harley, I agreed with it. When this new guy got elected or appointed, the new CEO of Harley Davidson, I don't have any faith in this man based off of what I've seen. But there's a difference between faith and hope, right? And I hope that he does exactly what we need him to do. But all of this comes full circle and how it impacts you as a Harley Davidson rider. And I'm going to show you the simplest and easiest way to understand how this directly impacts you. In this country, we have what's called a Federal Right to Repair Act, which means that you as a consumer have a right to repair your own vehicle, right? That means that you do not have to go back to the dealership. There's only one case where you do have to go back to the dealership. And in 1975, there was a law put in an act called the Magnuson-Moss Act. And what that law did is prevented things like tied-in sales provisions. Let me tell you what a tied-in sales provision is. John Deere tractor started invalidating warranties on newer tractor models if the farmer didn't use John Deere oil, John Deere oil filters, John Deere belts and hoses, and didn't purchase them from a licensed John Deere dealership. So the Magnuson-Moss Act, if you can look this up in your research online, the Magnuson-Moss Act prevented a tied-in sales provision. Tied-in sales provision means that you have to use said components. Well, we're a capitalist country, and in this country, we have the right and the ability to purchase OEM quality equivalent or better to fix our vehicles, because under the federal law, we have a right to repair. And if you remember about, I want to say 7-8 years ago, Harley Davidson got their hand slapped. They got some little bullshit small fine for violating FTC, Federal Trade Commission regulations. They had things that were violating the Right to Repair Act. They actually had people in the dealerships from the factories going around and invalidating your factory warranty. Your bike would be flagged through the system at dealership A that you had a tuner on it, you had exhaust on it, you had Screaming Eagle parts on it that weren't purchased at the time of purchase with the motorcycle, right, and weren't financed into your finance contract. They were invalidating warranties, so which is technically illegal. So here's what you need to know about your brand new motorcycle. You have a right to repair it. You can do that yourself. You can do that at a shop like mine. You can do that at a shop like Team Dream Rides up in Tennessee. You can do that as long as you keep proof that you did that. Now, we keep records for all of our customers. I know John at Team Dream Rides does. I know Tony May at Ramjet does the same thing. These are all independent shops, Tucker Speed, all these independent shops that we all make a living in this business. And we have to make technology. We have to move with the technology as it changes. So when Direct Link came out with the Centurion to do the ABS brake bleed, we did that. The Snap-on scanner tool actually will do the ABS brake bleed. It's a pretty expensive investment, but .4 brake fluid needs to be changed every 2 years. I'm coming back to this. I do have a point of why brake fluid is the sticking point here. But Harley Davidson was invalidating your warranty, which meant that if you put a cam in your bike, exhaust in your bike, Baker grudge box in your bike, or tuner, and your blinkers quit working, they would invalidate your warranty. Now, the blinkers have nothing to do with any of the above components, right? So they were actually invalidating warranties. They got in trouble. So your next bit of research after you research the Magnuson-Moss Act is to just Google Harley FTC. It'll come up. I mean, it's not a very long thing, but basically Harley got in trouble for invalidating people's warranties. So here's the thing that you need to know. There's only one time that you absolutely have to go back to the dealership for any warranty claim, any service work. And it is this, as follows. If they are paying 100% of parts and 100% of labor, which means you have zero out of pocket, you're required to go back to the dealership to keep your warranty intact. Anything outside of that, including extended service contracts with a deductible, mind you, with a deductible, you can go to any licensed repair facility. You can also repair it yourself, but you have to pay for all that up front, and then you have to send it into the warranty company. Shops like mine, shops like Team Dream Rides, shops like Ramjet, shops like Tucker Speed, all of your indie shops, we're licensed repair facilities. We can accept that warranty. The warranty company will pay us. The difference being, if you go to Harley, where they sold you that warranty, you may have a smaller deductible. So whereas you'd have a $50 deductible at the dealership, you'd have a $100 deductible here at my shop. But here's the kicker. I can waive that if I want to. We don't always do that. But we don't charge what the dealership charges for labor, and we don't charge what the dealership charges for parts, and we use much better components, right? So you have some options, and everybody needs to know that. Here's one thing you don't have an option of, though. I'm going to show you a brand new motorcycle with 5,000 miles on it. Let's see if we can do this here. We'll be able to turn this around. Yep. So, brand new Road Glide. I'm going to turn this. I'm not going to start the engine, but I'm going to turn it up so you can see it, the instrument cluster. Hopefully you guys can see this instrument cluster when it comes up. So, 4,348 miles. See that service light right there? That wrench? That wrench indicates that you need to have an ABS brake fluid flush. Why do you have to have your brake fluid flushed? Well, it's very simple. .4 brake fluid, which they went to when they went to the ABS models. So Harley Davidson started ABS in 2003 on some police models. Beyond that, every year they introduced it on more models. By 06, everything was .4. .4 is glycol based. Especially here in Florida, we see it. Anytime you look around the lip of the master cylinder cover, when you see it start to delaminate the paint, that means that .4 is seeping out, which means that water is seeping in. .4 being glycol based, it is hygroscopic, meaning it absorbs water. When it absorbs water, it lowers the boiling point. .4 means 400 degrees is the boiling point of that brake fluid. .5 is 500 degrees. .6 subsequently. .3, you get the idea, right? Well, .3 and 4 are glycol based. Glycol is a sugar. What happens when the water gets in there? It calcifies and it'll actually turn to a gel. And when it does that inside the ABS pump that has small servos that activate the braking system, it'll lock that servo up, and you'll completely lose brakeability. 100%. Goliath couldn't push down the brake pedal or squeeze the handle. It's very dangerous. Harley has kept it very quiet, as they often do. There's no TSBs. That's the other thing. TSB is a technical service bulletin. I can tell you, as somebody who spent 9 years in auto dealerships prior to my tenure in this business, a TSB, technical service bulletin, they go out to the general public. Ford Motor Company, GM, Chrysler, Hyundai, all of them. TSBs are important. Why? Well, because if you look across the street from my shop, you're going to see auto shop, auto shop, auto shop, auto shop. Down the street, there's another auto shop, right? There's a lot more cars than there are motorcycles. We're the only motorcycle shop around here, right? So cars are just more prevalent. Also, you're not going to get any fight from Ford, GM, or Chrysler about how to turn off your service engine or your service brake light. There's a way to do all of that inside my Ram. And because there's way more cars, there's way more people who are interested in that and know that and would complain, right? A lot more, as you would call them, Karens, that would complain about not being able to service their vehicles. Harley doesn't have that situation, right? So right now, as a shop owner, I've got thousands of dollars of digital technician equipment. None of it will turn that light off, right? So I did the ABS brake flush on this because we know how to do it manually, but we can't turn that light off, and that's a problem. So this is the call to arms of everybody looking at all this bullshit that's online. I'm going to ask you to do a couple of things. Number one, I want you to go to YouTube and go to Cycle Source TV, and I want you to look at Chris Callen's commentary on Robby Starbucks, please. You don't even have to watch Robby Starbucks' commentary. Just watch Chris's commentary. He's going to break it down for you from a motorcycle industry's perspective of why running around as an influencer and trying to get clicks and likes and free cables for your iPhone and showing you the latest mount and doing unboxing, all that stuff is bullshit. Any business that doesn't make or that only makes money is a poor business. But go take a look at Chris's commentary. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to look into the IMF, okay? The IMF is a lobbying group that works for the aftermarket. So think of SEMA for automotive, right? SEMA is the, I can't remember what that acronym breaks down to, but the IMF, it's $35 a year. If we all joined it, we would all get on that newsletter and we could find out exactly what's going on. These men and women go to Washington, D.C., and they knock on doors of politicians and they hold their feet to the fire. And they've just passed some recent legislation. In fact, if you go back and watch Cycle Source TV's Shop Talk from Sunday night, if you watch the first segment, you're going to see Bob Kay and the other gentleman from the IMF, I can never remember his name. They talk about all of the work that they've done recently with legislation. And this is important. You guys, these motorcycles aren't getting cheaper. I can't believe what people pay for motorcycles nowadays, especially for something that's as unfinished as that. Now, they are better than what they used to be, but let's face it, the whole point of having a Harley Davidson is you're buying a canvas to work from and you're going to make it yours, right? I mean, case in point, look at these bikes right here. This is a very good example of that. You know, all these bikes have custom stuff on here, right? This guy's obviously into suspension, into the stunt riding looking stuff, right? This guy's a little bit more kind of into the performance part of the engine. And the other gentleman down there, he's got himself a set of slip-ons. He's got himself an air cleaner, right? But Harley is gatekeeping. Harley is gatekeeping, and that's my problem. If you want to really talk about something, I don't give a shit about guys in dresses. I don't give a shit about rainbow flags. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. Let your freak flag fly. But don't prevent people like me and John Jessup and Tony May and Tony Tucker and everybody else that's in this business. Guys like Steve Broyles, who's been in this business since 1969. We can't fix consumer motorcycles correctly because we can't turn off a goddamn wrench light because Harley's gatekeeping. And that doesn't happen in the automotive industry. Not at all. Or in the diesel industry. Both of those industries have open source technology so that we can keep our cars and our minivans and our diesel trucks and the vehicle that we drive our kids to school in and that we drive to work in every single day, we can keep them on the road correctly. There's no gatekeeping in the automotive industry, but in the motorcycle industry, there's a tremendous amount of gatekeeping. So if you want to die on a hill, that's the hill you want to die on. So I'm going to ask everybody, please go and look up the IMF online on Facebook or on the site. It's only $35 a year to join. And if everybody watching this right now joined that, we would absolutely be able to make these changes that we need to make in this industry. So, Curtis, I'm sorry, just a little bitter this morning. I'm actually having a great day, but I wanted to share this with everybody. So, listen, ride safe, have a great weekend. I'm going to get my ass to work, and thanks for watching. Go join the IMF. Go watch Chris's program on Shop Talk and Sunday nights. And go to YouTube right now. Just put it on the background and listen to it. Chris's commentary on Robby Starbucks. Thanks.